Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, May 1st, 2017. Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories, translated into English, every weeknight. The DP chairman announced today that the opposition plans to extend the protests and civil disobedience countrywide. The Democratic Party claims it will escalate its protests, starting with the protest on May 7th. The Democratic Party chairman, Lulzim Basha, issued a strong ultimatum for the Prime Minister, declaring that he has 48 days before the opposition declares a war against what is considered to be the old republic. The Democratic Party will hold a protest on Sunday, May 7th, when the local elections for Kavaya's mayor are scheduled to be held, with protests going on all around Albania starting May 7th. Speaking harshly, the DP chairman said that the Prime Minister has not made a good calculation, as the citizens will not allow the Prime Minister to govern after June 18th, saying, "These groups of people are trying to keep the power by manipulating the June 18th elections. These people and their leaders have communicated to us that we have 48 hours to become part of the facade. My answer is this: you have 48 days before we declare our war for the removal of the old republic. Civil disobedience will be extended in every city to culminate on June 18th, when Albanian people will take control of Albania." The former Prime Minister of Integration and Democrat MP Majlinda Bregu openly spoke today against the actions of the Democratic Party chairman Lulzim Basha. In a Facebook status, she said that the decision to boycott Parliament, the decision to refuse the recommendations made by the European Popular Party's negotiators, were made without first consulting the Democratic Parliamentary Group. In the Facebook update, she wrote, "The decision to boycott Parliament was made without having a real debate on the issue. Despite this, I have always supported the protesters' tent and the civil protest as the most democratic way to return the attention of everyone to free and fair elections. In the meeting with the party chairman, I have frequently requested a gathering of the Democratic Parliamentary Group. The decision to refuse the package of compromise was proposed by European popular parties was made without consulting it, making Rama appear as victorious and Democratic Party as uncooperative in the eyes of the European popular parties. The hopes that the marriage of interest between Edi Rama and Ilir Meta would end with a divorce and that the government would be removed from this divorce has vanished." Ms. Bregu added that the Democratic Party participated in the 1997 election, a time when many candidates could not even enter in their electoral areas, and the country was in the hands of armed gangs. The Central Election Commission has started the verification of decriminalization forms for the candidates that 17 political parties have proposed to be part of elections. According to the Electoral Code, the Central Election Commission should approve the list of candidates no later than May 5th, 2017. Meanwhile, the list of candidates, which will be found with documentation problems, will be returned to complete the missing documents before May 4th. The CEC has set up a special structure to verify all the decriminalization forms. The complete process of verification and accepting or refusing of the candidates' lists will end on May 5th. After verifying the candidates' lists, the Central Election Commission will publicize them in its official webpage together with the decriminalization forms and the candidates' curriculum vitas. If the Central Election Commission will see that certain candidates need deeper verification, it will send their files to the Attorney General, which, so far, the CEC has not filed any request to the prosecution. The political crisis for the June 18th election seems to have also included the Central Election Commission. After the statement of the CEC chairwoman that the deadline for the registration of parties ends on May 3rd, the members of the opposition at the Commission say that the registration of candidates for elections was made after the deadline, as according to them, the deadline ended on April 28th and not April 29th. For this reason, they say the registration of candidates is illegal and not valuable. The three members of the opposition at the Central Election Commission argue that the recent actions show that the CEC is at the majority service. They accuse the chairman of the Elections Commission of exceeding his capabilities. The three members claim that the CEC cannot make changes and set another deadline, and that the Election Commission risks damaging the electoral process. The Workers' Union has protested today on the occasion of May 1st, International Workers' Day. They have asked for more rights, which, according to the union, are denied to workers. The protest was held for several minutes, and the chairman of the union said that the increase of minimum wage is one of the workers' early requests and needs. A representative of the Gender Alliance put emphasis on the manufacturing companies, which, according to her, did not give girls and women the day off today. May 1st is the Workers' Day, and protests are being held worldwide as workers ask for more rights and freedom. Vasili, who will be voted on Wednesday as the new chairman of the Socialist Movement for Integration after the resignation of Ilir, made his first promise for more jobs. Today he had this to say in his Facebook status: "More jobs, more well-paid jobs with dignified conditions, more rights for workers." Today is May 1st, and the Socialist Movement for Integration offers a chance to all workers. Earlier today, during a meeting with young entrepreneurs in Fier, Mr. Vasili said that the Socialist Movement for Integration will present a realistic program for June 18th elections, stating, "Altogether, we will walk towards a developed Albania. The country cannot progress without enterprises, without economic development. Albania cannot prosper, and all the words the politicians say will be empty and based on those promises, which even the politicians do not believe. We are preparing our own electoral program, which will not only be excellent, but also realistic." The SMI MP for the city of Fier emphasized that the political stability creates security for local and foreign investments. The Bank of Albania is now looking for alternative solutions to unpaid debts, presenting the possibility of ending long court proceedings. In the framework of the in-depth national plan for addressing non-performing loans, the Central Bank of Albania has directly engaged to fight against non-performing loans. The central bank will have a separate process for the top 35 borrowers of each bank, as well as extrajudicial debt restructuring. The second-level banks were asked to draft and present plans for recovery and solving this problem. The Bank of Albania has also requested an annual report from 16 banks in the country in order to formalize the strategy for the reduction of non-performing loans, the way they are implemented, and their forecast for their impact on the budget. In his report to Albanian Parliament, the central bank says it will soon finalize the guidelines for the restructuring of loans, which will thoroughly review the current guidelines in cooperation with the World Bank in order to address these problems. The establishment of a common formal framework for cooperation between banks to address borrowers' issues will be finalized. In December 2016, non-performing loans accounted for 18.3% of the loan portfolio. In the last 6 months of 2016, non-performing loans lowered by nearly 2% to reach 109.7 billion lek. 39.3 billion lek of lost loans has been deleted in the last 2 years. Large banks have the lowest level of non-performing loans, which is reported at 17.7%. while the small banks carry the highest level of non-performing loans at almost 27%. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Cosmo K, and on behalf of OR News, thank you and good night.